On April 25, 2025, Frehiwot Tamiru, CEO of Ethio Telecom, unveiled Ethiopia's most ambitious privatization initiative to date, a public share offering aiming to raise 32 billion birr. Touted as a historic opportunity for citizen participation and financial modernization, the initiative was positioned as a pillar of the government's broader economic reform agenda. But just days into the offering, the public response revealed a deep disconnect. Only about 10% of the targeted 32 billion birr was raised, raising hard questions about investor trust and market readiness. While the Ethio Telecom leadership promotes financial inclusion and national ownership, the wider Ethiopian reality tells a very different story, one shaped by political instability, economic exhaustion, and civil unrest. 1. A telecom IPO in the midst of armed conflict. Oromia, Ethiopia's economic backbone and most populous region, remains engulfed in a state of war. In several conflict-affected zones of Oromia and Amharic-speaking zonal areas, health systems and schools have been severely disrupted or rendered non-functional, and communication infrastructure is often unreliable or inaccessible. In some of the hardest-hit areas, entire communities are left without access to essential services. Telecom towers are routinely sabotaged or militarized. For millions of Oromos displaced or living under military lockdown, the idea of investing in a system they cannot access, and that has often been used as a surveillance tool against them, feels not only hollow but profoundly ironic. 2. Strikes on the ground, stocks in the sky? Simultaneously, public sector strikes have spread across multiple regions, with government employees, including teachers, health workers, and clerical staff, demanding months of unpaid wages. It's within this context that the state is asking ordinary citizens to invest in telecom shares. For many, the contradiction is staggering. Why buy stock in a state-owned company when the state cannot pay salaries or guarantee security? 3. The IMF and World Bank reform blueprint meets Ethiopian reality. The IPO aligns neatly with the World Bank's and IMF's economic liberalization framework, which encourages Ethiopia to reduce state ownership, expand capital markets, and attract private investment. But while these reforms are textbook in theory, they are crashing against the wall of Ethiopia's lived reality. A place where inflation hovers above 30%, conflict disrupts markets, and institutional trust remains fragile. Ethiopia is pushing forward with first-world capital strategies without resolving its third-world governance crises. 4. A warning from Safaricom's losses. Even Safaricom, Kenya's telecom giant, has reported massive losses in its Ethiopian operation, between KSH 23 and 26 billion. $177 million, $200 million, as of March 2025. Despite reaching over 8 million customers, Safaricom's Ethiopia experiment remains deep in the red. This is not simply a startup phase, it's a reflection of Ethiopia's volatile investment climate and the steep cost of doing business in an unstable empire. 5. Critical takeaway: reform without stability is just noise. The Ethio Telecom IPO is being championed as a democratic financial leap. But seen through the lens of war in Oromia, a crumbling social contract, and mass worker strikes, it becomes clear, this is not reform, it's performance. A nation cannot build trust by launching IPOs while jailing journalists, denying salaries, and blocking humanitarian access. The April 25 presentation by Frehiwot Tamiru may have delivered a polished vision, but the numbers, and the silence of Ethiopia's working class, tell a harsher truth. This isn't just a missed investment opportunity. It's a case study in how neoliberal reforms collapse under the weight of unresolved national trauma. Watch the full analysis. Talk about it. Share. Selling telecom shares in a place where people are still budgeting for soap, salt, and sanity might need a rethink. Own a piece of Ethio Telecom? Sounds great, until one remembers many can't even afford a full night's rest, let alone stocks. It's tough to build investor confidence where SIM cards function better than basic services, and airtime outpaces the leadership instability. Before dreaming of public investment, perhaps ensure the public is still standing, and not just in line for bread or power. If this hit a nerve or sparked a thought, subscribe, share, and keep the conversation alive, because silence never built a future.